Hello, and welcome to day 3 of the LightShine Devotionals. Today we're going to look at Ruth. Her story is found in the book of Ruth, coincidentally. She is one of the few women of the Bible who have a whole book named after them. We won't be studying the other one this week, but if you know who it is, you could put it in the comments below for a possible prize drawing entry. That'll be fun. I'll give you the cliff notes on Ruth. Ruth was a young Moabite woman, married to an Israelite man who had come to Moab with his parents and brother because there was a famine in the land of Israel. Unfortunately, each one of the 3 men of the family died. Ruth refused to leave her mother-in-law Naomi to return to her parents' house and find a new husband to support her, as would have been the expectation of the day. It was almost certain that staying with Naomi would lead both of them to a life of poverty, and yet she refused to let Naomi struggle alone. Even though Naomi, planning her return to Israel, was sure the young woman should stay back in her home country, Ruth insisted on following Naomi back to Israel, saying, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I go. Where you stay, I will stay. Where your people will be my people, and your God my God." That's found in Ruth 1:16, early in the story. Together they made the difficult journey back to Bethlehem. There, Ruth worked hard in gleaning the fields. That was gathering the leftover grains that were still available in the fields after the harvesters had gone through. In this way, she provided a subsistence living for herself and Naomi. Eventually, though, she humbled herself before the landowner of the field in which she gleaned. Enter the kinsman redeemer of Naomi's family, Boaz. We've heard that name before this week, haven't we? Let me explain. Kinsman redeemer. A kinsman redeemer would be a male relative who, according to various laws found in the Pentateuch, which is also known as the first 5 books of the Bible, or the books of Moses, those first 5 books, this kinsman redeemer fellow had the privilege or responsibility to act for a relative who was in trouble, in danger, or in need of vindication. The term kinsman redeemer is only used 7 times in the translation of the Bible that I was looking at, the New International Version. All those references, all 7 of them, are in the book of Ruth. That's the only place it shows up. That just a free fun fact. Anyway, so Ruth is essentially offering herself to Boaz for marriage, asking him to fulfill the law of redeeming his dead relatives' land and wife. That was God's provision in those days for widows. Well, I don't think it was a very hard decision for him. I mean, Ruth was a virtuous, younger widow, obviously a woman of upright character. So the older, wealthy landowner quickly exercised his right as kinsman redeemer and married Ruth, thereby rescuing both women from their troubled lifestyle. Besides being a beautiful love story and a picture of personal redemption, the story of Ruth fits into the grand story of our redemption through Jesus. According to the genealogy you find in the Gospel of Matthew in the New Testament, Ruth became the mother of Obed and the great-grandmother of King David. So like Rahab, her mother-in-law, foreigner Ruth became part of the line of Jesus Christ himself. Ruth's character comes shining through in her crises, and we see that she showed remarkable faith. She also provided a beacon of hope and light to Naomi, providing her companionship and sustenance in her advancing age. In fact, because of her faith in the God of Israel, Ruth was able to be strong and bold in the way she approached Boaz with the possibility of marriage. And he expressed his appreciation that she had been so careful to follow God's blueprint in the matter. You can read it all in the book of Ruth. Sweet story. But Ruth had this amazing grace and humility that had come into play as she had devotedly attended to her mother-in-law. She had committed herself to the Lord, and she had played a critical role in the plan of God. That victory over sin and death through Jesus plan of God. Simply in her faith walk, in her everyday faithfulness, in the face of some really dark circumstances. I don't know about you, but we really do forget that God is omnipresent. Omnipresent. Everywhere present. He's everywhere. Think about that. Seriously, everywhere. It would be easy to think we were alone. And yet God is there. Even in our grief, God is there. Even in our despair, God is there. Even in our loss, God is there. In our poverty, in our hopelessness, whatever the situation, like Ruth, we must never forget that God is there. And like Ruth, we can also be a light in this dark world to those around us, bringing light to their lives when their times feel overwhelming. Ask the Lord today, who in your world needs to see a glimmer of light and hope? Because of Ruth and her story, we can be encouraged to shine where we are. Until tomorrow, I'm Mindy Burns with the LightShine Devotionals.